that.
Really?
The Appian Way is a road that leads from Rome to Brindisi. It was built throughout the 2nd and 3rd centuries BCE by Roman slaves, or, as translated into modern parlance, essential workers. In 71 BCE, a 200-kilometer section of the Appian Way was dotted with 6,000 crucified slaves. They didn't want to be slaves anymore, but they happened to fall on the wrong side of the doctrine of
Nothing is true, everything is permitted.
Ultimately, they were punished because they didn't follow the rules as set out by the authoritarian Romans. Like Spartacus, I too am disobeying the Romans, but it is my hope that they learned their lesson from the last guy they crucified, and they'll be a bit more chill about me adding mushrooms and garlic to my carbonara. Let the die be cast. Due to a clerical error, I have sea salt today instead of kosher salt, and it comes in these big chunky chunks. So I'm gonna give it a pulse to grind the crystals down into more usable pieces. Then add in your flours, your eggs, and the olive oil. And watch in amazement as modern technology allows us to make pasta dough while our elbows remain grease-free. Blend it all together until it forms a glutinous sticky ball, and then turn it out onto a floured work surface. Okay, I lied. Our elbows will not be entirely grease-free because we still need to knead it a little bit. But the food processor saves us mountains of energy and time were we to make this dough completely grandma style. Once your dough ball is no longer sticky but pliable and springy, form it into a ball and wrap it in plastic wrap and then stick it in the fridge for an hour to let it rest. Add some olive oil to a pan and toss in some chopped mushrooms. Salt them to help bring out the moisture and then cook them all the way down. First, they're gonna turn soupy, but then when the moisture evaporates, they'll start to fry. When they get some nice color, reduce the heat and then grate in 2 cloves of garlic. Now, garlic burns easy, so the low heat is both gonna prevent any burning while also taking off that raw garlic edge, and then we're gonna perfume our mushrooms with some magic garlicky magic. Cut your pancetta into some cubes and then run your knife over them until they're like confetti. Add them to a cold pan, as this will help the fat render out more completely. Once they're golden brown, remove them and reserve the fat. Remove the dough from the fridge and let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes so it comes up to room temperature and is easier to work with. Roll it out and feed it through your pasta roller until the dough is at your desired thickness. Then, using a bench scraper, segment your dough sheet. Sprinkle both sides with flour to prevent them from sticking and roll them up. Then, cut them into 1 centimeter ribbons and lay them out on a plate with some flour. Give them a toss to make sure they're not glooping together and set aside. They should look like a bird's nest. For our sauce, all we're gonna do is grate in a whole bunch of pecorino and parm into a bowl like so. Then, crack in 3 eggs and mix that all up until it's homogeneous, and then grate in an inordinate amount of black pepper. Next, bring some lightly salted water to a boil and watch in amazement as this dish comes together in about a minute or so. If you blink, you'll miss it, so go to the bathroom now. Add your fresh pasta to the water and retrieve it pretty much immediately, and transfer the pasta to your pan with the pancetta fat and stir it around. Next, using a technique I stole from the bakers of the world, temper your egg mix by adding a couple of ladles of the pasta water into the eggs. This greatly reduces the chance of your eggs scrambling when you transfer them to the skillet. Stir it around until the egg mix is no longer runny but creamy and you can no longer see any bits of cheese. Once your sauce starts to thicken, add in your pancetta and then your mushrooms. Then, transfer this orgiastic mess to a plate and spread it out so there aren't any hot pockets where things can either overcook or scramble. Lastly, to make it look refined and hide its true hedonistic nature, Garnish with some basil, some more freshly cracked pepper, some chili oil, lemon juice to cut through everything, and finally some more freshly grated parm.
Here we are yet again.
Wow.
Asking me how to describe this dish is like asking someone how to describe a sunset. I don't know how you would do that exactly. I mean, the sauce came together, no scrambled eggs. It's kind of funky from the pecorino, the parm, and the pancetta. And then the lemon juice kind of just cuts through everything. And by the way, mushrooms and garlic are a net positive in this dish. Come at me, Rome. I'm gonna die on that hill. Well, that's it for me, folks. There was so much cheese in that carbonara that my upcoming pupus maximus will be the defining event of my annus. And as always, do what you love because nobody cares and it doesn't matter.